good evening once again, and thank you for joining us on the Atlantic Television Network Global News. And now, my name is Angel Nwokoma. Now, on major stories, Rivers State House of Assembly on Friday ruled against Governor Sim Fubara to enact the Rivers State House of Assembly Service Commission law. The House ruled against Fubara after convening an impromptu sitting. This is the second time the state lawmakers will override Fubara's assent on bills. A statement issued by Martins Wachuku, media aide to the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, said the lawmakers decided after the governor withheld his assent to the 4 bills via letters to the House, which were read on the floor of the House, stating that such amendment would create confusion and breach constitutional provisions. Remarking on the Rivers State House of Assembly Fund Management Bill, which was presented by the Majority Leader, Major Jack, and debated by members, the Speaker, Martin Amewule, cited Section 105 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as altered, which empowers the House to override the governor where the governor withholds his assent. In like manner, the Rivers State Local Government Law Amendment Bill, the Rivers State Traditional Rulers Law Amendment Bill, and the Rivers State Advertisement and Use of State-Owned Property Prohibition Repeal Bill were all represented, debated and voted upon with a unanimous decision to override the governor's assent. Rivers State Police Commander for the armed robbery operation on Sibarakane Sarawiwa Polytechnic Road in Kana, local government area of the state, SP Grace Iringe Koko, spokesperson for the police command, while confirming the incident in a statement on Friday, said in a coordinated effort, officers from the police division Bori and the anti-counterterrorism unit Bori were dispatched to the scene following a distress call. SP Koko stated that on the arrival of the police personnel, the robbers engaged them in gunfire, but due to the superior firepower of the police, their assailants were subdued and the robbery operation was successfully thwarted. SP Koko stated that the disease was identified as Monday Sulole, a notorious armed robber and cultist and also known as Oyoyo. Sulole, aged 25 and hails from Yege in Kogana local government area, was responsible for the numerous cult clashes and armed robberies in the Ogoni axis of Rivers State. She said the police recovered several items from the robbers, including one locally made revolver pistol with 3 live ammunition, one locally made shotgun with 3 cartridges, a machete, and several charms. National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control said it busted a fake bottled water syndicate at the Pipeline Road exit of Eneka in Obiabo local government area of Rivers State. The agency said the discovery on Friday followed a tip-off from some well-meaning members of the public, which is officially speedily acted on. NAFDAC Public Relations Officer South Zone Cyril Monye, who discloses in a statement in Port Harcourt on Friday, said the suspects were using a descript shop camouflage as a pool house for the production. Monye said one of the distributors of the fake bottled water was arrested after packing the products and loading them for sale to unsuspecting consumers. Speaking on the incident, the NAFDAC coordinator in Rivers State, Emmanuel Onogu, enjoined members of the public to always avail the agency of useful information that will lead to arrests of criminals who specialize in adulteration and faking of regulated products. World Water Day happens each year on March 22. It is a day we focus on the importance of water and why it is crucial to save it. Water is super important for staying healthy and having a good life. United Nations designated March 22 as World Water Day in 1993, following the recommendation made at the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development in Rio de Janeiro in 1992. Each year, World Water Day focuses on a specific theme related to water conservation and management. The theme of World Water Day 2024 is Water for Peace. We shall bring you more reports on the 2024 World Water Day in our special documentary after the global news. Federal government has approved the appointment of chief medical directors for Federal Medical Center Yenegua, Bayelsa State and Jabi, Abuja. This was disclosed in a statement shared on the X account of the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation on Friday, March 22. Dr. James Omietimi was appointed as the chief medical director of the FMC Yenegua, Bayelsa State for an initial term of 4 years with effect from February 27, 2024, and Professor Saad Ahmed was reappointed as the Chief Medical Director of the FMC, Jabi, Abuja, for a second 4-year term with effect from February 27, 2024. Delta State Commissioner of Health Joseph Ono-Jeme said that about 4 cases of Lassa fever have been confirmed in the state. He urged residents to keep their environment clean always and ensure that rats do not breed on around their homes. Ono-Jame, who spoke to reporters in Asaba on Friday, March 22, listed the affected local government areas including Okbe, Oshimili North, Oshimili South, and Ndokwa East County. According to him, emergency operation centers have been set up across the state to monitor the situation and ensure residents are aware of what is going on. He said the government is doing a lot of advocacy, especially to health workers and sensitization of residents to have a high index of suspicion when they see those cases. The Department of State Services, Akwa Ibom State Command, said it has apprehended 4 suspects involved in the kidnapping innocent victims and terrorizing the state. A statement by the command on Friday noted that the suspects were behind the abduction of Ayo Bambe, the manager of Milounge, a relaxation sport at Osongama Estate, Uyo, and 2 others on the 27th January 2024. The statement listed the suspect to include Idris Abdullahi, Adel Ata Ekong, Itoro Edet Efyong, and Nsingong Edet Efyong. It explained that the courts who have confessed the crime are parts of a notorious syndicate which have been terrorizing the state and masterminded several kidnap incidents in recent times. Meanwhile, the suspects, according to available information, will be arraigned in court after investigation, while a manhunt for other fleeing members is still ongoing. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has commended Abia State Governor Alex Oti for repealing the law that allowed former governors and their deputies to collect pensions. He admonished other state governors to emulate Oti to reduce the cost of governance. The former president spoke during a courtesy visit to Oti at the governor's country home in Mvosi, Isiala-Ongwa South local government area. The former president, who passed a vote of confidence on Oti, acknowledging his developmental strides which have restored public confidence in the government, urged him to pay more attention to infrastructure, describing the people of Abia State as enterprising. Oti thanked the former president for commending him on the repeal of the pension law and assured him that his administration was focused on providing infrastructure for the people of the state. Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, has approved the appointment of his brother, Ferdinand Uzodinma, as his Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of General Services. Ferdinand Uzodinma was a councillor, transition committee chairman, and sole administrator of Oru East local government area. The governor also reappointed Cosmos Iwu as a secretary to the government. Also reappointed by the governor are Nnamdi Anyehi, Patrick Ekeji, and Olesiemeka Sydney Abo as Chief of Staff, Deputy Chief of Staff Administration, and Deputy Chief of Staff Operations, respectively. Governor Uzodinma also named Sam Anya Welechi Nwombase, named as Special Advisor on Program and Policy Implementation and Monitoring. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has indicated interest in a mutually beneficial partnership between the Lagos State government and MasterCard for technology, digitalization and innovation. The governor said the development of back-end infrastructure by the Lagos State government will help MasterCard's investment drive in the state. Governor Sanwo-Olu spoke when the management of MasterCard led by its president for Eastern Europe, Middle East and Africa, Dr. Dimitrios Doisis, paid him a course visit at Lagos House Marina. Sanwo-Olu said his administration is open willingly and eager to make technology a way of life. Other than that, there is a lot of the Lagos State government and MasterCard can jointly develop and take forward in the area of technology. Speaking earlier, Dr. Dimitrios Doisis expressed his organization's commitment to partner with the Lagos State government. Independent National Electoral Commission says it will publish the personal particulars of candidates in the Edo and Ondo state governorship election on 31st March and 16 November this year. The commission urged the media and the general public, particularly registered voters in the state, to scrutinize the biodata and credentials of candidates, which is the essence of the publication as provided by law. Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, who gave the charge at a consultative meeting with the media in Abuja, noted that with a few months to the election in Edo and Ondo State, it is proper to brief newsmen on preparations for the polls.
Parties will commence their primaries for the governorship election in the next 2 weeks. 16 political parties out of 19 have so far indicated interest in participating in the election. I urge civil society organizations to engage with political parties and observe their primaries just as we engage with INEC and deploy observers to the main election conducted by the Commission. By doing so, you will strengthen your advocacy, particularly for inclusivity, for groups such as women, youth, and persons with disability that are underrepresented in elected offices at national and state level. I want to reassure you that INEC will continue to partner with civil society organizations. We appreciate the observations and recommendations contained in your election observation reports.
President of Nigeria Union of Journalists, Chris Isiguzo, who pledged the readiness of the media to work towards sustaining democracy in Nigeria, charged INEC to conduct the forthcoming elections with utmost integrity, fairness, and transparency.
Let us commit ourselves to the noble ideals of democracy, accountability, and civic responsibility. It's also important that we work together tirelessly to ensure that the forthcoming elections in Edo and Ondo states, as well as future elections, are conducted with the highest standards of integrity, fairness, and transparency. Together, we must uphold the sanctity of the ballot box and safeguard democratic aspirations of our nation. It is hoped that our collective efforts would pave the way for a brighter, more prosperous future for all Nigerians.
The Commission had earlier met with the members of the civil society organizations, CSOs. The Commission says civil society organizations that we are accredited to observe the 2023 general election and subsequent off-cycle elections who has failed to submit their observation reports to the Commission will no longer be accredited to observe future elections. Professor Mahmoud, who insisted that the submission of an observation report by an accredited observer after an election is not only mandatory, but also one of the conditions for eligibility to observe future elections, also declared that the Commission would henceforth deny the 14 CSOs from observing future elections.
A very important reality in today's age of information technology is the spread of fake news and misinformation instantly and on a global scale. As I said on many occasions, INEC does not believe in censorship. The best antidote to fake news is greater openness and transparency. It is in furtherance of this policy that the Commission interfaces regularly with stakeholders through our regular consultative meetings. We appreciate our partnership with the media, and I want to reassure you that INEC will continue to work very closely indeed with you. We welcome your reports, commentaries, and analysis on elections in particular and electoral activities in general. More specifically, some of the innovations introduced by the Commission to improve service delivery to the electorate, ensure the safety and security of journalists, and grant journalists unimpeded access to various locations during elections and electoral activities draw from your reports, as well as the suggestions and recommendations made during our quarterly meetings. I urge you to be a bulwark against fake news and misleading narratives about the Commission and its activities.
Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, Chairman INEC, responding on behalf of the CSOs, the Executive Director of Sustainable Gender Action Initiative, Fuliat Jabi, commended INEC for its sustained partnership and collaboration with the civil society community, stressing the importance for a continued working relationship to deepen the country's democracy.
Need for an inclusive democratic process driven by the kind of election that we all work together to have in this country. And of course, the fact that civil society organizations already work with political parties would also strengthen its observation of primaries leading to the emergence of candidates in elections. Most importantly, based on the fact that there is need for an inclusive election that truly reflects the representation of the people we have in Nigeria, especially the need for more women's inclusion, youth inclusion, as well as persons with disabilities. We also take very seriously the fact that the Commission is still expecting reports.
Ekiti State government has sued for peace, unity and love among citizens to combat long-drawn battles of land disputes in some communities. Ekiti State Deputy Governor Monisade Afuye gave the appeal in Ado-Ekiti on Friday while settling a land dispute among 3 royal dynasties in Ekpe, Ijero local government area of the state. This intervention was a fallout of a petition written by Elekpe of Ekpe, Oba Ayo Deji Adeshoye, against 3 princes from whom he accused of stoking violence and unrest in the community and preventing him from accessing farmlands designated as Oko Oba that traditionally belonged to him. The defendant, Bushayo Atoye, Kole Atoye, and Pastor Amos Abe Loba, however, denied the allegation, saying the farm and the dispute belonged to their family and not to the royal father. She said that the foregoing was contrary to the focus of Governor Biodun Oye Banji, whose priority was that all towns in Ekiti must be in peace and unity for development to be attainable. Ebonyi State Police Commander said that its operatives raided the camp of hoodlums terrorizing the state, killing 3 of them and arresting 5 others. A statement by the spokesperson of the command, Joshua Ukando, said the raid was carried out in conjunction with other security agencies in a forest located at Omini community in Izi local government area of the state. He said the gunmen on site and the security operatives opened fire, which led to a shootout during which 3 of the gunmen were neutralized. As the beat recovered at the den indicated that the gang is responsible for the recent attacks and killing of police officers within the state. She further assured the residents of the state of the command's readiness to fight against crime and ensure adequate protection of lives and properties in the state. Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia has suspended mining activities in the state. The governor made the announcement on Friday during the launch of the initial 60 mining marshals saddled with the responsibility of curbing the illegal mining of solid minerals across the country. Represented by his deputy Sam Odi, the governor said the suspension was necessary until miners' data is collated. He said that the Mineral Resources and Environment Management Committee would collect data of all miners in the state. The governor warned that his administration will not tolerate any illegality, saying it is my administration's prerogative to protect life and property of the people. Sequel to the political crisis rocking the All Progressive Congress in Benue State, political analysts have identified several loopholes in the Nigerian political industry. Emmanuel Irwa Anyama indicated that one of the dilemmas rocking political organizations in Nigeria is that of insufficiency of party capacity and the will to handle its internal issues without speed breaking to the public domain.
The statement of APC at this time for me is belated. It shows a mismanagement of the crisis in the first instance. APC will not claim not to know when this started, as it were. It's part of the problem with almost all the political parties. That's just an APC thing. Okay. They seem to lack the will, the power internally to nip matters in the bud until they go haywire. And then you begin to ask somebody who has a right in the first instance to litigate to forcefully withdraw his case. You're just wasting your bloody time. You will end up killing the party the more. Because they will refuse, I'm sure. Most of them will refuse at this level. And then you say you want to discipline them.
He further maintained that every politician has a role of foresight and contribution to issues as concerns the party before it escalates.
Nobody has powers without responsibility. You must see this coming and nip it in the bud even before it gets off hand. At that time, you'll be sure that you've done the needful. You don't allow a person go all the way out. And at the point you say you want to use party, of course, the party foundation is membership. So, I wonder how many persons you want to...
Recall that the ruling All Progressive Congress recently ordered aggrieved members in Benue State who are currently in court over the leadership crisis and the state to withdraw their cases or risk facing disciplinary actions. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has promised the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa of the FCT administration, support to curb insecurity and the nation. While made the pledge when the CDS paid him a courtesy visit in Abuja on Friday. Wike acknowledged the tireless effort of the Nigerian military to keep Nigeria safe. He assured Musa of FCTA support in whatever form to improve the security situation in the country and maintain the territorial integrity of the nation. According to the minister, the National Assembly had passed the 2024 FCT statutory budget, adding a provision in the budget for the procurement of drones for security agencies. This said we support security agencies to win the ongoing war against all forms of insecurity, particularly in the FCT. Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed has pardoned 96 inmates from various correctional facilities across the state. The amnesty granted to the prison inmate on Friday under the Constitution of Nigeria included payment of fines and transportation allowances totaling over 20 million naira. According to the governor, only inmates with minor offenses unable to pay fines were selected for the amnesty program. Other than that, he refused to grant amnesty to those 7 long terms for capital offenses in order not to encourage the commission of such offenses. Mohammed also announced that each of the pardoned inmates would receive the sum of 100,000 naira to start a new business, to sustain themselves and become good citizens. He charged them not to see themselves as prisoners, but to be free to reintegrate into society and to behave well henceforth. 7 students of Nasarawa State University, Kefi, have been reportedly killed in a stampede while struggling for rice meant to be distributed as palliative by the state government. The students were said to have allegedly broken into the warehouse where the food items were kept to be distributed Friday, overpowered the security attached to the institution at about 5 a.m. and forcefully broke into the warehouse, scrambling for palliative. Some students billed to benefit from the Nasarawa State Government palliative were issued ID cards to admit them into the venue where the distribution was to take place. It was also gathered that as early as 5 a.m., students had already taken over the arena, overpowered the security, and broke into the warehouse, resulting in the stampede. Details of the incident are still sketchy at the time of this report. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break. Stay tuned.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
We're glad to have you back to the Global News and Atlantic Television News Network News. And now, the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has told the leadership of the National Assembly not to lose sleep over the allegation that they padded the 2024 budget, saying that their integrity is intact. The president also said that the perpetrators of the killing of soldiers in Delta State will face certain justice, warning that his administration will not tolerate attacks on the military and security infrastructure. President Tinubu stated this when he hosted the leadership of the Senate to a dinner to break the Ramadan fast at the presidential villa, Abuja. In a statement issued on Friday by the special advisor to the president of media and publicity, Chief Ajuri Ngelale, the president told members of the upper legislative chamber that his administration will always encourage cooperation for the advancement of the nation. President Tinubu thanked members of the National Assembly for the speedy attention given to the Student Loan Amendment Bill, urging more tolerance, forgiveness, and charity during Ramadan. In his remarks, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, thanked the President for hosting the lawmakers, noting that regular interactions would enhance understanding and productive governance. Senate has directed the Central Bank of Nigeria to recover the sum of 1.079 trillion naira given as loans to farmers under the Yanko Brewers loan scheme. The 1.079 trillion naira given as loans to farmers under the Yanko Brewers program was part of the 30 trillion naira given as an overdraft to ex-President Muhammad Buhari-led administration by the CBN from 2015 to 2023. Chairman of the Senate ad hoc committee probing the 30 trillion naira overdraft to the federal government during ex-President Muhammad Buhari's administration, Senator Jibrin Isa, APC Kogi State East, directed the CBN to debit commercial banks that handled the disbursement of the loan from the source. Senator Isa gave the directive at an investigative hearing organized by the committee during the week following explanations by CBN officials led by the Deputy Governor of Corporate Services, Bala Bello, on poor recovery of the loan. President of the Nigerian Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and the Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, Benjamin Kalu, on Friday arrived in Geneva, Switzerland, for the 148th Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, IPU. The Senate President who led the Nigerian delegation was accompanied by the event by Senator Asuku Ekpeyong. Akpabio and his entourage were received on arrival at the airport in Geneva by Nigeria's ambassador to Switzerland, Abiondo Richards Adejola, accompanied by South African ambassador to Switzerland, Zolise Nkosi. This year's edition, according to a statement by the Special Assistant of Media to the Senate President, Jackson Udom, who would take place from the 23rd to the 27th of March 2024. The Inter-Parliamentary Union, a global organization of national parliaments, was founded in 1889 and dedicated to promoting peace through parliamentary diplomacy and dialogue. It has grown into a truly global organization with 179 member countries out of 193 countries of the world. Ababio was also 7th March 2024 nominated by the African Parliamentary Union, APU, into the preparatory committee for the 6th World Conference of Speakers of Parliament of the IPU. The IPU facilitates parliamentary diplomacy and empowers parliament and parliamentarians to promote peace, democracy, and sustainable development around the world. Opposition lawmakers in the House of Reps have called for the rejection of a state policy. A spokesperson of the group, Ikenga Ogochinyere, during a press briefing in Abuja, noted that this will amount to anarchy where state government will misuse security personnel for their personal vindicta.
Is to also voice our rejection to the move to establish the state police. Let's make one thing clear, that we are looking for a solution to some of our national problems cannot lead us to bigger problems. There's one thing that is very important that must be done. If governors cannot manage or allow local government system of administration to work, can you trust these gentlemen with an army, with a police force? And these are, some of them have not even paid 18,000 or 20,000 minimum wage. So they're not going to pay police force. Why do they suddenly want a police force? Because most of them are going to use it for ulterior political purposes. So because everybody is scrambling, looking for a way to solve key national security challenges, should not throw us into something that will throw us into a state of lawlessness and anarchy. And more importantly, how did we get to insecurity? If the local government system was functioning and their money was going directly to them, would there have been need for bandits to take the forest without the local government chairman handling it? All these insecurities and all these economic problems, the markets that have been burned, the markets that are not functioning, local government would have fixed it. Those communities that don't have water, local government would have fixed it. Those teachers in primary school that were not being paid, local government would have fixed it. Those teachers that are no longer training our children who are turning into bandits would have been functioning if local government was also functioning. So everybody will agree that the reason why they are disconnecting governance today is that the rural system of administration have been captured by a group of people that we elected as governors.
Ikenga, who lamented that there are certain persons who are parading themselves as lawmakers despite losing their seats at the River State House of Assembly after resigning from the political party that voted them into power, warned that their loss is a deliberate invitation to anarchy and attempt to sabotage the presidential peace accord.
They should have known that this plot is a deliberate invitation to anarchy, an inglorious attempt to sabotage the presidential peace accord. So that's why we are calling on the president to call his party men, because they are now his party men, to order to avert a total breakdown of law and order in River State. Because breakdown of law and order in River State is imminent, going by the rascality of these men who are no longer legitimate members of an elected state assembly. And also the opposition is also calling on the remaining few members of the River State House of Assembly, who are now statutory members of the House of Assembly and who has formed the quorum going by law because of the vacancy in this seat, to immediately take control of leadership of the River State House of Assembly by electing a replacement speaker that will take over from the outgoing speaker, Right Honorable Edison Ehi. We are going to support them, we will give them all the necessary support, because as long as the law is concerned, these gentlemen are known to the law. So if it is only 3 or 4 people that is left in that state assembly, they should do the needful, which is to announce a new speaker that should take leadership of that House of Assembly. And also to inform urge the governor, on no account should you allow local government chairmen whose tenure are going to expire in the coming few weeks to spend extra second or minutes in office.
He also called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to immediately conduct the by-election for the replacement of the lawmakers who defected from PDP to APC in the breach of the Electoral Acts and the Nigeria Constitution. Nigerian Communication Commission, the Joint Committee on Communications chaired by Senator Ikra Bilibiza, is to affirm the final modalities for effectiveness of a national emergency dial numbers for all Nigerians. The agencies confirmed this at the presentation of its budget performance for 2023. The Commission also shed light on the significant role these emergency numbers play in ensuring public safety. During the session, Senator Ned Nwoko, representing Delta South Federal Constituency, emphasized the urgent need for providing effective emergency numbers for Nigerian citizens, underlining their importance in emergency situations.
Just like you, I lived in England for many years and I traveled all over the world. I still don't understand why you cannot ensure that we have one emergency number nationally. It could be 222 or 111. Or, look, let me tell you, when people are faced with emergency, nobody remembers 080 or to call any other number other than, but if you have those 3 digits nationally, it will save so many lives. You know, like in England, if you have a situation and you use your last breath to dial 999, in 5 minutes, 3 emergency numbers will respond to you. They will locate your position. Police will be there, fire service will be there, ambulance will be there, all linked together. So is there any way you can, if you can do this during your time, I'm sure it will be well appreciated by Nigerians.
Dr. Aminu Maida, the executive chairman and the CEO of the NCC, addressed inquiries from lawmakers regarding various aspects including security, revenue generation, the data protection. He assured the legislators that the emergency dial numbers are indeed effective, contributing to swift responses during emergencies. Furthermore, Dr. Maida highlighted the NCC's commitment to diversifying revenue sources and increasing regulatory compliance among operators, aiming to reduce reliance solely on operator sanctions.
We do have a national number, which is 112, and we have an emergency dispatch center in every state of the Federation, including the FCT. I think the last batch are just about to come online. But like the honorable member highlighted, I think the challenge is that of publicity, because yes, today you see police will be advertising a normal GSM number in one state, in another state you see another number, and it's not easy for people to remember. So there is a committee which our honorable minister has put together, whereby we're looking to work with the Interior Ministry to raise this publicity and potentially change some of the operational modalities so that Nigerians can get the benefit.
Subsequently, the NCC's budget proposal for 2024 amounting to 549.6 billion naira received approval through a voice vote by committee members, with Senator Tahir Monguno from Borno North moving the motion for approval, which was rectified by the committee chairman, Senator Ikra Aliyu. The federal government has demanded that federal civil servants on study leave show evidence of approval obtained from the office of the head of civil service of the Federation. This is as the head of civil service of the Federation, Folashade Yemi Eshon, noted that the federal government has now put in place a mechanism for routine verification of workers in the service in order to ascertain their true location. This was made known in a memo addressed to all permanent secretaries in Abuja on Friday. The federal government had in August 2021 raised the alarm over civil servants applying for study leave with admission letters obtained from suspicious foreign universities. Similarly, in 2022, the government ordered that such workers be made to sign bonds in a bid to curtail the abuse of study leave by civil servants. Nigerian Army has blamed the low fence and the absence of the CCTV cameras for the Kuje prison break on July 5, 2022. Representative of the Nigerian Army gave this hint at the probe instituted by the House of Reps Joint Committees on Reformatory Institutions, Justice, Police Affairs, Interior and Human Rights in Abuja. Major Peter Obuniya, an Assistant Director, Commercial Law, Directorate of Legal Services, who represented the Chief of Army Staff, said after the prison break, the Army observed that the place where Nkuje prison is located is more of a built-up area. On a part, the representative of PRAW, Uju Agomo, that's Prawa, observed that over 14,000 inmates in various correction facilities have been processed through non-custodial measure.
We also observe issues of low fencing and CCTV camera absence within the general area. These are some of the things that we observe, and we are unable to, these things we are unable to be put in place before the incident. And I want to believe that these things would have assisted the guards to know what is happening, possibly to see how these things can be assisted. However, on our own parts, the troops tried their best by returning fire to the Boko Haram terrorists on their arrival. However, it was very unfortunate that the troop deployed vis-a-vis the build-up of the general area were not sufficient to actually curtail the terrorists that came from different dimensions. And it became a challenge because we are deployed in so many IS operations, and we could not deploy more to assist the correctional center. However, I want to believe that efforts have been made to see how we can improve on the security challenge that's been confronting the correctional center.
Federal Ministry of Justice greatly supported the efforts to decentralize the correctional service to allow states establish and manage their own correctional centers. This was achieved through the alteration of the Constitution and moved the correctional service prisons from exclusive list to concurrent list. This is expected to fast-track the decongestion of the correctional centers nationwide when properly implemented. The Ministry appreciates the effort of the National Assembly with regards to the enactment of the 5th alteration with respect to decentralizing the correctional service, bearing in mind that about 80% of inmates are offenders of state laws.
We have, just last year, over 14,000 that have been processed through non-custodial measure. But without funding, it can't help us. My final comment is this. There are 3 major categories of people who we find in custody. And it's important that we remember it each time we think about these issues. 1, those who are innocent, they have no business being there. We must do everything to make them go out. Secondly, the minor offenders. Those minor offenders, we need to find very practical ways, including non-custodial, to deal with them. Thirdly, those who are hardened criminals. And each of these categories, even if it's 1 day, 1 hour you spend in custody, you will have problem because of socialization into criminal life. And we know it is not only correctional service that have detention facilities. We have 19 institutions in this country that keep people. And yet, we do not have nobody, no agency, no individual, knows the total number of persons who are in custody in Nigeria at a particular time, except the statistics you have in the Nigerian Correctional Service.
Chairman of the Joint Committee, Chinedu Oga, noted that the Correctional Service is key to Nigeria's security and that the committee would do what is right by ensuring decongestion while urging stakeholders to make effective contributions to do what was needed. Federal government on Friday arraigned and detained the president of the Miyetti Allah, Kautal Hore, Bello Bodejo, before a federal high court in Abuja. Bodejo was arraigned in the 3-count criminal charge bordering on alleged establishment of an ethnic militia in Tundun Wada in Kao local government area of Nasarawa State. He pleaded not guilty to the charge following the prosecution lawyer, N.B. Abubakar, prayed the court to order his remand in custody of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Trial Judge Justice Inyang Ekpo, in a short ruling, granted the request and fixed May 27 for commencement of trial. Recall that Justice Ekpo had on March 13 fixed Friday, March 22, for ruling in the defendant's motion for bail and unconditional release from custody. However, Justice Ekpo in the ruling held that the filing of a charge by the federal government against the defendant has overtaken the ruling and subsequently ordered the defendant to take his plea if he was ready or the matter be adjourned to a a later date for him to take his plea. Bodejo was arrested on January 23 in Malia, Nasarawa State and kept in custody. Reactions have continued to trail over the leadership crisis between the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Labour Party. Speaking on the issue on Atlantic Television Open Conversation, a public affairs analyst, Emmanuel Iruanyama, said that the NLC is trading too close to losing its constitutional focus, which is concerned the protection of the interests of trade unions for socio-industrial sustainability. Iruanyama tasked the NLC to refrain from political interference, which he described as being detrimental to the aims and goals of trade unions.
Labor union is a product of a law. The NLC is a product of the law, the Nigerian Trade Union Act. The NLC has a constitution, and I'm not sure ownership of a political party is one of the things in that constitution as kept by the trade union registrar. I'm not sure. And I think this is becoming, do I call it a Nigerian problem? When people get into positions and they want to become God, these are the kind of things you find. I'm not holding brief for the Labour Party chairman. Last week or thereabout, when we talked there, we found some persons taking Labour Party to, is it INEC to court or so, asking that they be deregistered because they've not been able to hold NEC meeting or whatever, as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution, and he did it the party constitution. So if you find the party chairman try to run around to see how he can squeeze himself out of that kind of mess, and then somebody else who comes from somewhere, we've said severally that the current NLC leadership is turning the labor movement away from her role. Yes, Labour Party enjoyed the support of the NLC and indeed the labor movement in the country. Yes. But at no time did we know that Labour Party was registered by NLC.
Emmanuel emphasized on the need for public office holders to maintain discipline in line with their civil responsibilities and regulations.
The former chairman of the Labour Party that was dragging, almost claimed that he owned the party. I think he's in which other party now? I think he was the first presidential candidate of that party too. The gentleman from the East. So, these are simple things that people know shouldn't get into unnecessarily, as it were. So tomorrow, Nupeng will go and form a party and come and tell you the party's name is Nupeng. The NLC is a central labor organization. That's what the law says. And its functions are clearly stated.
Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board says its management has adjusted acceptable statement of result for direct entry registration from 2022 to 2021. The board said the 3 years validity period will be 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022, and the 2022 and 2023 academic years. This was made known in a post on its official X handle on Friday. Recall that JAMB had in February commenced the sale of direct entry forms nationwide and in the selected foreign centers. It said the sale is open to foreign candidates desirous of tertiary education in Nigeria through the direct entry mode. West African Examination Council has withheld the result of 65 candidates who participated in the maiden computer-based tests of its 2024 first series, WAEC, for private candidates. Dr. Amos Dagot, the council's head of national office, disclosed this in a statement issued to newsmen to announce the release of 3 results of this year's West African Senior School Certificate Examination on Friday. Dagot stated that the result representing 0.80% we are being withheld following reported cases of examination malpractice. He said that when compared with the 413 recorded cases of examination malpractice in the 2023 diet of the same examination, it revealed that the new method of administration of this year's test had drastically reduced examination malpractice. According to him, the reported cases are being investigated, and reports of the investigation will be presented to the appropriate committee of the council law for consideration. And now we are moving on to the business news. President Bola Tinubu has said the gradual appreciation of the naira against the dollar was due to a sustained effort to check forex volatility in the country. The president called on the Nigerians to support the initiative by patronizing locally produced goods to further strengthen the value of the naira and reduce hardship in the country. Tinubu spoke through his media special advisor on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, who addressed journalists at the presidential villa, Abuja, on Friday. According to the presidency, there is already a noticeable measure being taken by the regulatory body to firm up the nation's currency, which has started to yield results. Ngalale said the plan has culminated in the approval of over 7 billion naira to be disbursed to 75 large-scale manufacturers across the states of the Federation. The Debt Management Office says the nation's public debt increased quarter on quarter by 10.7% to 97.34 trillion naira in the fourth quarter of last year from 87.87 trillion naira in quarter 24. According to DMO, the increase in the debt stock was largely due to new domestic borrowing by the federal government to part finance and deficit in the 2024 Appropriation Act and disbursement by multilateral and bilateral lenders. The office noted that the 97.3 trillion naira public debt comprises domestic debt of 59.12 trillion naira and external debt of 38.22 trillion naira. The sum of $3.5 billion was used to service external debt during the review period. The MO said Nigeria's public debt stock as at December 31st, 2023 was 97.34 trillion naira or $108.229 billion. This amount comprises the domestic and external debt stocks of the federal government of Nigeria, the 36 state government, and the Federal Capital Territory. And now we are moving on to the international tidbit. Now we have stories. 1 week after the authorities of Nigeria Customs Service opened the land border between Nigeria and Niger Republic, the government of Niger Republic on Friday opened its border in Koni for operations. A source, Nuhu Samaila, who briefed newsmen from Koni in Niger Republic, said the border was declared open at exactly 12 p.m. on Friday. He commended the decision of the leadership of the country, the military junta, for giving a listening hearing to the yearnings of the people. They're ensuring the border is open. The federal government had last week Wednesday restored the supply of electricity to the Republic of Niger, following the directive of President Bola Tinubu that Nigeria's land and air borders with the neighboring country be opened. Earlier in August last year, ECOWAS, led by Tinubu, imposed sanctions on Niger following a coup that toppled the country's president-elect Mohamed Bazoum in July 2023. Officers of the Niger Presidential Guard had on July 26, 2023, arrested Bazoum and declared him deposed. In their reactions, ECOWAS leaders demanded a full restoration of constitutional order in Niger and declared Bazoum's arrest and detention illegal. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has appointed his son, General Muhoozi, as the head of the country's military. Gehezi is widely believed to be his father's potential successor and has previously sparked controversy with his statement. The Defense Ministry statement confirmed his new role. Other than that, he replaces Wilson Mbasu Mbadi, who has been reassigned as a junior minister. This appointment comes after Museveni removed his son from his opposition as commander of Uganda's land forces in 2022, following Kabaruza's provocative remarks on the social media. Ken Ruba had in the past drawn attention by threatening to invade neighboring Kenya and expressing support for Russian President Vladimir Putin amid the conflict in Ukraine. Senegal's presidential candidates were set to make their final pitches to voters, marking the end of a rash campaign for what is considered an unprecedented election after weeks of political crisis. 7 million people are eligible to vote Sunday in the traditionally stable West African nation set to become an oil producer. But we are more than a third live in poverty, and half the population are aged under 20. After the last-minute withdrawal of 2 candidates, 17 contenders remain in the race for president, with campaigning officially due to end at midnight Friday. Whoever comes out on the top will be tasked with steering the nations out of years of tension and managing revenues from recently discovered oil and gas reserves. President Macky Sall, in power since 2012, is not standing again, making it the first Senegalese poll where the incumbent will not feature on the ballot. Report says a magnitude 6.4 offshore earthquake hit near Indonesia's Java Island on Friday, where the tremor felt in the capital Jakarta and forcing residents of another city to flee their homes. The quake had a depth of approximately 8 kilometers, 5 miles, and struck off Java Island's northern coast near Bawan Island. There were no immediate reports of damage or injuries, and no tsunami warning was issued by local authorities. The quake was felt more strongly in East Java province, including in the major city of Surabaya. Indonesia, a vast Peloga nation, experiences frequent earthquakes due to its position on the Pacific Ring of Fire, an arc of intense seismic activity where tectonic plates collide that stretches from Japan through Southeast Asia and across the Pacific Basin. In 2018, a magnitude 7.5 quake and subsequent tsunami in Palu on Sulawesi killed more than 2,200 people. Canada is set to reduce its intake of temporary foreign workers, according to the Immigration Minister Mark Miller. This strategy marks a significant shift from the nation's previously expansive immigration policy. Miller highlighted that Canada has witnessed a notable surge in the admission of temporary residents in recent years. While acknowledging the country's resilient reliance on temporary foreign workers to address labor shortages, Miller emphasized the necessity for improvement to enhance the system's efficiency. The adjustment comes in the wake of Canada experiencing substantial population growth driven by high levels of immigration, which has begun to outstrip job creation. This surge includes international students, foreign workers filling employment gaps, and individuals displaced by conflicts and natural disasters. And now we are moving on to the entertainment news. A popular Nigerian singer David Adeleke, also known as Davido, has agreed to settle the breach of contract suit filed against him by the immediate past president of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick-led Brown Wheel Investment Company Limited, at the High Court of Delta State, Efrun. The singer is to settle the dispute out of court. As part of the consent judgment entered in a 2 billion naira suit filed against him, Davido also agreed to pay 30 million naira to the claimant, being a part of contribution to the claimant's outstanding legal fees in the suit within 7 days of execution of the terms of settlement. Recall that the claimant had, through his lawyer Kelechi Onwebuchulem, in suit prayed the court to award 2 billion naira as general damages against Davido. The claimant prayed for 150 million naira as legal and professional fees and an additional sum of 30 million naira as cost of filing the suit. Listed as defendant in the suit are David Adeleke Davido and his musical label Davido Music Worldwide Limited. Consequent upon an extensive discussion and negotiations to have the matter resolved amicably, the parties have mutually agreed to perform at the Warrior Again concert edition on October 4, 2024. In the consent judgment, parties further agreed that the sum of $94,500, which the claimant had already paid to the defendant, will be considered for the performance at the event. Afrobeat sensation Asake has made a shocking move as he empties his Instagram page by deleting all posts and unfollowing everyone. The lonely at the top, Corona, also didn't spare his YBNL boss, Olamide, and his close friend, Hemo Lee. ATN observed that his page is still empty as of the time of filing this report. Legendary high-level singer Godwin Kabaka Opera has passed away at the age of 77. Kabaka's record label Deda Promotions announced his demise in a statement on Friday. Kabaka was a talented and a popular songwriter, a guitarist whose contagious high-life music delighted many admirers. His musical career encompassed multiple decades, genres, and bands. In 1973, he co-founded the Oriental Brothers International Band, a high-life force recognized for its socially conscious lyrics, musical prowess, and authentic sound that captivated millions of people in Africa and beyond. Kabaka began his solo career in 1976 when he formed the Kabaka International Guitar Band. He continued to make high-quality, high-life music, releasing 14 albums and producing successes such as Mangala Special. Now we are moving to the exciting world of sports. A goal in each half for the Super Eagles was all they needed to claim the bragging right against Ghana's Black Stars in a 2-1 win on Friday. Series Desires and Ademola Lookman were the two goal scorers for Nigeria as Jordan Ayew pulled a goal back for the Black Stars in stoppage time. President of the Nigeria Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusso, has showered encomiums on the Falconets following the team's defeat to the Black Princesses of Ghana. The Falconets surrendered their title, losing 2-1 to the hosts in the final of the women's football event at the Cape Coast Stadium on Sunday. Chris Danjuma's side took the lead in the first half through Lavette Ede. The Black Princesses, however, rallied to win the keenly contested game. Gusso said the Falconets gave their best in the competition despite falling to retain their title. Football Association has confirmed the date and kickoff time for his season's FA Cup semi-finals. Both matches will be played at Wembley next month. Manchester United's game with Coventry City has been brought forward due to concerns from the Metropolitan Police. In the first semi-final, Manchester City take on Chelsea at 5:15 p.m. on Saturday, April 20. United will play Coventry at 3:30 p.m. the following day, April 21. The FA are said to have requested a 4 p.m. kickoff, but they have now agreed to move the match after talks with police. According to reports, the match was reviewed as high risk by the police, with the FA and broadcaster said to have been left frustrated about the change, as later kicks off typically mean larger TV audiences. Malaysia has decided against hosting the 2026 Commonwealth Games because of the cost. The government said in a fresh blow to an event seen as outdated by some. The decision made at a cabinet meeting chaired by Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim follows the withdrawal of the Australian state of Victoria last year. The CGF is scrambling to find a host after Victoria withdrew last July because of soaring costs. The CGF offered Malaysia and other potential hosts 100 million pounds, 100 million pounds, that is $125 million, to step in with just over 2 years to go until the games are supposed to take place. But the Malaysian government said the offer was not expected to be able to cover the entire cost of organizing a large-scale sports event, Commonwealth Games. And that was it on the global news for tonight. But before we go, let's take a look at the major stories. Rivers Assembly overrides Fubara announced service law. Delta State confirms 4 Lassa fever cases. Ababio Kalu attend IPU meeting in Geneva. Nigeria's public debt rises 10% to 97.3 trillion naira. Nigeria Republic opens land border with Nigeria. High life singer Godwin Kabaka is dead. Super Eagles beat Ghana's Black Stars, and that's it on the news. I am Angel. Welcome. Thanking you so very much for watching. You can follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter at Atlantic TV Net, and on Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, and on Instagram you can follow us at Atlantic TV Network. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Please stay tuned for the World Water Day special report. From me is good night.
On today's topic, we have the World Water Day. Thousands have lived without love. No one without water. W.H. Auden. Do you know that 2.2 billion people still live without safely managed drinking water, including 115 million people who drink surface water? Roughly half of the world's population is experiencing severe water scarcity for at least part of the year. Water-related disasters have dominated the list of disasters over the past 50 years and account for 70% of all deaths related to natural disasters. With that, we take a word from the United Nations. The theme for today's Water Day is called Water for Peace. Water can create peace or spark conflict. When water is scarce or polluted, or when people have unequal or no access to water, tensions can rise between communities and even countries. More than 3 billion people worldwide depend on water that crosses national borders. Yet, only 24 countries have cooperation agreements for all their shared water. As climate change impacts and increases and populations grow, there is an urgent need within and between countries to unite around protecting and conserving our most precious resource, one of which is water. Public health and prosperity, food and energy systems, economic productivity, and environmental integrity all rely on a well-functioning and equitable managed water cycle, creating a positive ripple effect. The theme of World Water Day 2024 is Water for Peace. When we cooperate on water, we create a positive ripple effect, fostering harmony, generating prosperity, and building resilience to shared challenges. We must act upon the realization that water is not only a resource to be used and competed over. It is a human right, intrinsic to every aspect of life. This World Water Day, we all need to unite around water and use water for peace, laying the foundations of a more stable and prosperous tomorrow. Key messages for World Water Day 2024. Water can create peace or spark conflict. When water is scarce or polluted, or when people struggle for access, tensions can rise. By cooperating on water, we can balance everyone's water needs and help stabilize the world. Prosperity and peace rely on water. As nations manage climate change, mass migration, and political unrest, they must put water cooperation at the heart of their plans. Water can lead us out of crisis. We can foster harmony between communities and countries by uniting around the fair and sustainable use of water. This is from the United Nations Conventions at the international level to act and have actions even at the local level. Then we ask, how do we use water? What is water conservation? Water conservation is the practice of using water efficiently to reduce unnecessary water usage. According to researchers, water conservation is important because fresh, clean water is a limited resource as well as a costly one. As a homeowner, you're probably already well aware of the financial costs of inefficient water use. Conservation of this natural resource is critical for the environment and our wallets. Water conservation is necessary to keep water pure and clean while also protecting the environment. Conserving water entails being responsible for our water supply and using it wisely. We must learn how to keep our limited supply of water pure and clean, free of pollution, because everybody depends on it for survival. Water is vital for all living beings to maintain life on earth. It is used for cooking, washing, cleaning, bathing, irrigation, etc. Conserving water is important because we cannot survive without it. Water helps humans to stay hydrated and help fight diseases. Water is vital to our health. It plays a key role in many of our body's functions, including bringing nutrients to cells, getting rid of wastes, protecting joints and organs, and maintaining body temperature. Water should almost always be your go-to beverage. It helps to preserve our environment. Reducing our water usages reduces the energy required to process and deliver it to homes, businesses, farms, and communities, which in turn helps to reduce pollution and conserve fuel resources. We go into 25 ways to save water. Next to air, water is the most important element for the preservation of life. Water is a finite commodity which, if not managed properly, will result in shortages in the near future. Water conservation can go a long way to help alleviate these impending shortages. Number 1. Check your toilet for leaks. Put a few drops of food coloring in your toilet tank. If without flushing, the coloring begins to appear in the bowl, you have a leak that may be wasting more than 100 gallons of water a day. Number 2. Stop using your toilet as an ashtray or waste basket. Every cigarette butt or tissue you flush away also flushes away 5 to 7 gallons of water. Number 3. Put a plastic bottle in your toilet tank. Put an inch or 2 of sand or pebbles in the bottom of 1 liter bottle to weigh it down. Fill the rest of the bottle with water and put it into your toilet tank, safely away from the operating mechanism. In an average home, the bottle may save 5 gallons or more of water every day without harming the efficiency of your toilet. And if your toilet tank is big enough, you may even be able to put in 2 bottles. Number 4. Take shorter showers. A typical shower uses 5 to 10 gallons of water a minute. Limit your showers to the time it takes to soap up, wash down, and rinse off. Number 5. Install water-saving shower heads or flow restrictors. Your hardware or plumbing supply stocks inexpensive shower heads or flow restrictors that will cut your shower flow to about 3 gallons a minute instead of 5 to 10 gallons a minute. They are easy to install and your shower will still be cleansing and refreshing. Number 6. Take baths. A partially filled tub uses less water than all the shortest showers. Number 7. Turn off the water while brushing your teeth. Before brushing, wet your brush and fill a glass for rinsing your mouth. Number 8. Turn off the water while shaving. Fill the bottom of the sink with a few inches of warm water in which to rinse your razor. Number 9. Check faucets and pipes for leaks. Even a small drip can waste 50 or more gallons of water a day. Number 10. Use your automatic dishwasher for full loads only. Running your dishwasher less often saves water and money. Number 11. Use your automatic washer uses 30 to 35 gallons per cycle. Number 12. Don't let the faucet run while you clean vegetables. Rinse your vegetables instead in a bowl or sink full of clean water. Number 13. Keep a bottle of drinking water in the refrigerator. This puts a stop to the wasteful practice of running tap water to cool it for drinking. Number 14. If you wash dishes by hand, don't leave the water running for rinsing. If you have 2 sinks, fill one with water to rinse. If you have only 1 sink, first gather all your washed dishes in a dish rack, then rinse them quickly with a spray device or pan of water. Number 15. Check faucets and pipes for leaks. Leaks waste water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. An inexpensive washer is usually enough to stop them. Number 16. Water your lawn only when it needs it. Watering on a regular schedule doesn't allow your cool spells or rainfall, which reduces the need for watering. Step on some grass. If it springs back when you move your feet, it doesn't need water. 17. Deep soak your lawn. When you do water your lawn, water it long enough for water to seep down to the roots where it is needed. A light sprinkling that sits on the surface will simply evaporate and be wasted. Number 18. Water during the cool parts of the day. Early morning is better than dusk to water your plants, since it helps prevent the growth of fungus. Number 19. Don't water the gutter. Position your sprinklers so that water lands on your lawn or garden, not in areas where it does no good. Also, avoid watering on windy days when much of your water may be carried off to the streets and sidewalks. Number 20. Plant drought-resistant trees and plants. Many beautiful trees and plants thrive without irrigation. Number 21. Put a layer of mulch around trees and plants. Mulch slows the evaporation of moisture. Number 22. Use a broom to clean the driveways, sidewalks, and steps. Using a hose wastes hundreds and hundreds of gallons of water. Number 23. Don't run the hose while washing your car. Soap down your car from the pail of soapy water. Use a hose only to rinse it off. Number 24. Tell your children not to play with the hose and sprinklers. Children love to play under a hose or a sprinkler on a hot day. Unfortunately, this practice is extremely wasteful of precious water and should be discouraged. Number 25. Check for leaks in pipes, hoses, faucets, and couplings. Leaks outside the house are easier to ignore since they do not mess up the floor or keep you awake at night. However, they can be even more wasteful than inside water leaks, especially when they occur on your main water line. Now we ask, what happens if we don't conserve water? If we don't save water, the future holds potential consequences such as water scarcity, droughts, food shortages, and environmental degradation. Communities could face water rationing, economic challenges, and conflicts over water resources, negatively impacting both human well-being and the planet's ecosystem.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.